finding the zeros of a polynomial. Finding the zeros just means finding where the polynomial equals 0. And just so you know, another word for zeros of a function is x-intercept or roots. So if they tell you to find the x-intercepts or to find the roots of a function or to find the zeros of a function, those all three mean the exact same thing. They all mean you need to find where the function equals 0. So the x-intercepts kind of gives you an idea of where that happens on the graph, of course. Where your function equals 0, you will hit the x-axis. Okay, so first I wanted to look at one like this example here. F of x equals x times x minus 5 times x plus 3 squared. So this is similar to what we did when we were solving quadratics, where we would factor and then set them both equal to 0 and solve. Same idea here. This has already been factored for us, so we can just set it equal to 0, set each piece equal to 0, and then solve. So this one's already done for us. It's just x equals 0. Here we can add 5 to both sides. Here we can take the square root of both sides and get x plus 3 equals 0, and then subtract 3, and we get negative 3. This function would have 3 zeros then, 0, 5, and negative 3. That's also its x-intercepts or its roots, because they all mean the same thing. Okay, similar problem here. It's already been factored for us, so we can just set it equal to 0 and then set each individual 1 equal to 0. Okay, here I take the square root of both sides and just get x equals 0. Here I take the square root of both sides and get x minus 2 equals 0. Then add 2 to both sides and get x equals 2. So this one just has 2 zeros, or 2 roots, or 2 x-intercepts. Okay, now that's what we do if they're already factored for us, or if it's a quadratic and you know how to factor it, you can factor it on your own and then do this same process like we've done before. But I wanted to look at what to do if you have one like this that you may not know how to factor. Now just so you know, this actually can be factored, but we're not going to worry about that right now. I just want to show you how you can do it with a calculator if you're unable to factor it. So here's what you do. You go to y equals, and then you plug in the equation. X cubed plus 3x squared, and then it was minus x minus 3. So plug that in y equals, and then go to your graph. Okay, now if you look, it would appear the zeros are at negative 3, negative 1, and positive 1. So let's see if that's true. The simplest way to just check and see if they actually are those numbers is to go to your table. So go second table, and we suspected it was at negative 3, negative 1, and positive 1. And that proved to be true. So those are our 3. So I'm going to go ahead and write that answer before we forget it. It's x equals negative 3, negative 1, and 0. So there are 3 zeros we have here. Now there is another way to do this, because sometimes it's not going to be whole numbers and it may be very difficult to tell what they are. So I want to show you that as well. So if you're at the graph and you do second calc, it's right next to table, the second option down is 0. Now it's going to ask for a left bound and a right bound. So here's the idea. You're trying to give the calculator an interval to look at. So I'm going to try the one farthest to the left first. In other words, I'm trying to find the one that we now know is at negative 3. So I'm going to go just to the left of it. So I just keep hitting the left arrow till I go past it. And then I hit enter. Then it's going to ask for the right bound. So then I hit the right arrow till I go past it. And then hit enter. When they ask you to guess, just hit enter again. And you can see that there's one at negative 3. Okay, now we can find the next one over, the one that's kind of in the middle at negative 1. We do the same process. Second calc, go down to 0. Okay, left bound. So you move until you're just to the left of it. So maybe about there. We're just to the left of where we want to be. Hit enter. Right bound, so we move right until we go past it. Hit enter. Don't worry about guessing, just hit enter. And we get negative 1. And finally we can find the third one with the same process. Second calc, 0, move it till it's just to the left. Oh, I went too far. That'll work, just to the left, hit enter, go just to the right of it, hit enter, and don't worry about the guess, just hit enter, and you get positive 1. So you can see that's how you can find the zeros in the calculator using the calculator. We're going to do one more where we're in the calculator. X cubed plus 2x squared minus 4x plus 6. Let's see, x cubed plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. Let me double check that that's correct. Okay, minus 4x minus 6. So x cubed plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. Now if I go to the graph, I can see that I have 3 zeros. You can see them here, here, and here. I'll go ahead and tell you though, they're not going to be whole numbers. So it's going to be really hard to check that in the table. If they look like whole numbers, again, you may think, okay, it looks like there's one at -1 and 2. You can always check that over here. Let's see, -1 and 2. Okay, those aren't zeros, so that's not going to work. So we have to use the second calc 0 process. So second calc, go to 0, and I go all the way to the left until I'm just to the left of the one over here on the left. So I hit enter, then move to the right till I go past it, hit enter again, and I get -2.265. We'll round that to 266. So x equals -2.66. That's one of them. Okay, let's go back to the calculator and find the middle one, next one over. So second calc 0. Okay, again, with this left bound, right bound, your calculator just has to have somewhere where it knows where to look. Because especially here where there's more than one, it needs to know, okay, where do I need to look for this 0? So you're just trying to tell it where to start and where to stop. So left, you want to be basically where you're starting. So that's just to the left of it. Hit enter, and then move to the right until you go past it. Then hit enter again, and then enter again, and you get -1.21. And finally, we'll find the third one. Same process, second calc, 0. We want to move just to the left of it. Oh, I went way too far. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Just to the left of it. Hit enter. Move to the right of it. Hit enter again. Enter one more time. You get 1.86. We'll round that to 1.87. So those are our 3 x values where the function equals 0. So this is where this function is equal to 0. It's also called the x-intercepts or the roots. So that's how you can do it. Again, if it's factored, which we had in our first 2 examples, like these, if it's already factored for you or you can easily factor it, then you can do it this way, just by hand. If it's not easily factored or impossible to factor, then you can do it this way in the calculator, as I showed you here.